Afternoon, guys. Wednesday. By the way, guys, naamoy klase og Saturday.
Murag PE ra sir.
What time in UP is a Saturday?
10 to 12 ba siguro to, sir?
Okay. Sunday wala. Available mo Sunday.
Yes sir, wala may klase Sunday sir.
Okay. Ang ato sa ka-schedule is 9 to 12. So, I will ask you if ato pwede ibali ng ato schedule katong 9 to 12 nato ugma to Sunday na lang. So, bali Sunday nato mga um, kung sa inyo available nga hours like 2 to 3 or sa
Morning lang sir kay simba pagkahapon.
morning. Okay. Pwede ra morning sa Sunday kuan mga what time 9 to on sa man 9 to 12 gihapon. Di man sad gud ta kuan, di man gud sad ta mag ubos ana og kuan 9 to 12 kay mga kuan ra klase ta na mga 1 hour ra kapin siguro. So depende sa ato topic nga i-cover. Okay ra sa inyong Sunday.
Okay ra sir.
Kay dili man daw ta ka klase ugma kay ang ako kuan man gud i-adjust pod na ako schedule. So ang ako schedule is kuan man kanang 9 to 6 AM. And then matug pa man ko ana kutob udto. So di jud ko ka klase nag 9 to 12 nya mabiyahin mo ana sa lecture kung maingon ana. So ato kuano na lang ibalhin na to og Sunday ang usa nato ka kuan schedule kadto 9 to 12. So mahimo na nato og kuan um lecture og laboratory. So pare-pareha man na niya kuan gyapon setup. Okay, so sugod ta. Stress na. By the way, ang tanan na ba naka-download og kuan code editor or text editor? Naka-download na ba tanan? Ang uban nagamit ba og PC karon? Kay nara ba koy mga demo ba sig di mo kasunod ba og magamit ra mo og cellphone? Kasi nagamit ra og laptop or PC. Way nagamit ron? Puro cellphone? Guys,
Cellphone naman ako, sir.
na unsaon man ni nato? Di mo kasunod sa
Asan yung
kuan.
cellphone, sir?
Di mo kasunod.
Na may IDE sa cellphone, sir.
Na ID era. Okay. Okay ra og naay kuan na ID ang cellphone. Ang uban niya way IDE. Pag-download na lang mo daan. Ako ba siguro ani kay bawa naman siguro ani kuan mag-design ng mga website. Okay, last meeting nag-meet ta sa kuan last sa to kinsa to ni attend, so gamay ra man kay itong ni attend natong last mga 5 minutes ra man gud to nga ako kuan kay na ako ilakaw. So ato lang i-kuan recap. I'm gonna share my screen. Ang uban niya way IDE ha sa cellphone. If you're using cellphone, you need to have the IDE. Ang uban niya na IDE, okay na. Makasunod rin na sila. Because I'm going to kuan man, present you a demo kung saan pagkuan. Pag code, kuan ra gihapon marag hapon mo mag code but more on designing. More on designing sa web page. So ang ato output ani is individual. Just because this is very easy nga subject. Okay, so welcome to Web 1. So for those nga wala pa kailan ako and wala pa na under na ako sa previous semester. So my name is Jaime Condes and I am a software engineer sa VSS and a part-time instructor sa EBSU. So for this subject, we have requirements. So you need to have the XAMPP or the SAMP. You need to download this one. You can download here. Ang uban niya sa cellphone, I don't know if unsa inyo gamiton na pagkuan. because we need to have the server. Okay? So okay ra na cellphone lang sa lecture, but hindi nga to na nato sa kuan sa ato tawagan sa ato practical naman tayo mga practical exam. So we need to use the computers. Okay, sa SAMP download, we have um, kuan different version. You can download on Windows na ay mga kuan diri na ay mga um, tawag ni version sa kuan sa SAMP. So on Windows, you can download the latest nga build kaning 8.1.6, and for Linux, if you're using Linux, you can use 8.1.6 gyapon, and sa Mac OS you can use 8.1.6, the latest version of SAMP. Okay, let's go back to our slide. So code editor, if you're using PC or laptop, you need to have the code editor. It's either Sublime Text, Atom, VS Code, or etc. Pwede sad Notepad++. Pwede ra sad mo mag-Notepad if kuha na jud mo, kuha na gid mo anang coding. So pwede ra mo gamit anang Notepad. Basta na lang mo editor, text editor. Okay, so sa PC or laptop, because you're going to design a web page, you need to have the computer, because sa kuan man gud sa cellphone dili ka design og sakto because of the resolution of your cell phone. Okay, number 3. So web systems and technologies 1. So we have the learning topics. So part 1, we have the web page development with HTML, including tables, frames, and cascading style sheets. So we need to have this kaning you need to learn this one, because this is the foundation of this is the foundation of your knowledge of creating a web pages. Mao ni pinaka starting. Okay, so kinahanglan jud mo kuan mo sa basic before mo to sa advanced nga mga topics. Alright, para makahibaw mo. Part 2 is application development with JavaScript and object-oriented programming paradigm. Okay, so gamay lang siguro ato mga kuan ani, more on UX design lang. So JavaScript raman, so wala na back-end design, back-end programming. So we are more on designing sa web page nato. Okay, so step by step process. So number 1 is we need to learn about the HTML and web pages. Okay, images and tables. So kung makakuan mo ng uban kanang, for example sa Facebook na ay mga kuan diri na mga images, kung saan pagbutang sa images kay makaibaw mo ana. Okay, and sa background and forms. Background, so sa to background colors, background images, pwede ninyo ibutang sa HTML tags ninyo. You can do that in this subject. So explore lang tani. So in forms, we will be kuan including these forms in our topic, and most of our topics is mo ngadto ta sa cascading style sheets, because this is our kaning pinaka window diha ta magsigi og edit. Okay, color scheme. So we have color scheming. It's either we're going to use color palette to make our website presentable. Okay, 1 second, murag na ay nag-admit. Alright. Okay. So, color palette. Naman tayo mga color palette dere. So, we need to choose kung unsay excuse me. Kung unsa mga color palette nga inyo ganahan, unsa inyo color sa inyo website. That is because to make your design kuan kaning presentable sa mga users. Okay? And dire black level. Okay? So cascading style sheet, so makahibaw ra mo ni. One second, murag na ay nagpa-admit gihapon. Alright. Okay. Kadali lang ha, ako sa i-charge ang ako. Kuan kay murag naglobat na kadali. Okay. Let's go back to our topic. Nabatir ako, guys.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, yung ako mic kay murag yan na, okay. So, number 7, introduction to JavaScript. Gamay ra ato mga kunana, but this is very important. Processing HTML forms, conditions and math objects, with and this, loop and arrays, mukat mo ngano agapunta, return function and more arrays, time object and image ruler. Okay. So let's start with the basic, and we should know about the internet and the World Wide Web, because this will be our window for kuan sa tibuok nato nga semester. Okay, World Wide Web. This is the one that you are gonna see here kung magtawag mo og website. Okay? Najud na www. Okay? So that is the World Wide Web. Now, the World Wide Web is also known as the web. Okay? World Wide Web, or W3, refers to all the public websites or web pages that users can access on their local computers, okay, and other devices through the internet. Okay, so ang kani siya, ang World Wide Web, this is the kaning like kung maghimo mo og server and you're going to create a domain, your domain will have this one, okay, because that is your address on para sa para makita sa tibuok kalibutan bisag asa niya mo i-access. Okay, these pages and documents are interconnected by means of hyperlinks that users click on for information. Okay, so this information can be different formats, including text, images, audio, and video. Okay, so just like kaning Facebook, they are using www para ma-access sa bisag asa nga lugar, di ba? Okay, so the term World Wide Web isn't synonymous with the internet. Rather, the World Wide Web is part of the internet. Okay, now how it works. Dali nga rin sa ibaw. Ayan. Makita ra guys. Alright, so how it works. Paving the way of an internet revolution that has transformed the world in only 3 decades, the World Wide Web consists of multiple components that enable users to access various resources. So documents and web pages in the internet. So thus, the WW is like a vast electronic book whose pages are stored or hosted on different servers worldwide. Okay, so these pages are the primary component or building blocks of www and are linked through hyperlinks, which provide access from one specific spot in hyperlink or hypermedia document to other spot within the document or different one. So hyperlinks are another defining concept of www and provide its identity as a collection of interconnected documents. So if you're going to create a web page, it's like a static web page. Ang usaan ang kinahanglan ninyo is a domain. Okay? So that will be um, um, your kuan ang sa domain ninyo, it consists of internal nga public IP sa inyong server. Okay? Para ma-access siya sa kuan outside world, dili lang sa imo computer, imo na ibutang og domain or host na nimo sa mga hosting ng mga website, and then that will be kanang available bisag asa naka sa kalibutan, basta ma-publish lang nimo ang imo kuan, imo web page. So in this subject, kuan ra ang ato output will be individual, and then kaning kinahanglan maka-publish mo og web page nga ma-access bisag asa. Okay, so try to advance research on that, because that will be our kuan, our output. So what is HTML? Okay, so da ako gikuan gi-embed diri nga YouTube kuan video. You can watch this one. 1 second.
Behind every web page is a mess of letters, numbers, and symbols that
Mabati ra ba guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good.
bring it to life. Ever right-click on a web page and select View Source? The string of odd numbers, letters, and symbols is the HTML source code. Hypertext Markup Language, or HTML, is a text-based approach to describing a structure of a web page's content. HTML tells a browser, like Chrome, Firefox, Edge, and Safari, how to display the text, images, and other elements on a web page. To specify location and display instructions, HTML relies on a special syntax comprised of tags or structural commands. For instance, tags can indicate where a body of text starts and ends. Every HTML element has an opening tag, content in the middle, and a closing tag. Because HTML is completely text-based, with the code literally just typed out, just about any text editor can write or edit an HTML file, including basic programs like Notepad. HTML is native to every browser, easy to learn, free to use, and can be integrated with other back-end programming languages. But while it's widely used, it does not have dynamic functionality, limiting it to static web pages, and requires separate component creation. Additionally, newer features might not be compatible with older browsers. For instance, some newer tags from HTML5, a recent HTML update, are supported by some browsers but ignored by others.
Okay, so that is an HTML or the hypertext markup language. Okay, so I'm gonna show you how to create an HTML document. Okay, so in this case, if you're already have the XAMPP on your PC, so you can navigate to your XAMPP and go on to your SAM folder. Kasunod ra guys. Guys, are you still there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, kasunod ra. Basta padung ra mo sa XAMPP nga folder, go to your htdocs nga folder, and this is your folder para sa name sa inyo web applications or web page. Okay, so in this case I'm going to create a folder for kuan 2B. Okay, web 1 2B. Let's create a folder. So din sa htdocs na to ha, folder. Okay, so I'm gonna name it web 1 dash 2B. Okay, and then sud sa ato web 1 dash 2B, we have an empty nga kuan, yan, space kaya wa pa man isod. Now we're going to put something in here. Okay, so let's open our code editor. Let's open up code editor. I have here VS Code. Okay, makita ra. So here we have to new text file, create a new text file, and then new file, right to the, okay, adre na lang, next new text file na lang, and we're going to put something like that and then enter. No. You need to save it as h.html muna. Okay, so web1 2b. So in this case we need to name it index.html. That is because every browser, if you're going to navigate folder using browser, it will automatically look for an index file. Okay, para ma-load ayon ang ato index file nato or ang page nato, we need to create an index, and then the extension will be .html. Okay, or htm, so pareha na siya, but I'm going to complete the file .html. Okay, here's ato .html file, index.html. We need to create a HTML document or hypertext markup language document. Okay, if you're going to put something like this, it will automatically create an HTML document. Okay, kana na siyang exclamation point o exclamation mark kung inyo na kuan sa VS Code ni ha, shortcut lang ni. You're going to put exclamation point and then enter. It will create automatically a document for HTML. Now we have the header, which is the doc type HTML. This is to tell the browser that this is an HTML document. Okay, munang naa siya sa permi sa taas. Okay, so HTML, and then this is the lang for language, and then in for English. Okay, So another tag, these are the HTML tags. Okay? Mao ni siya ang mga HTML tags. Don't forget that one. So HTML nga HTML tag na sud sa HTML, we have a head and body. Okay? So sa head nato, okay, 1 second. Kadali lang guys ha, napay nagpaperma og kuan. Paperma sa completion, kadali lang. Okay. Apa mo guys?
Yes, sir.
Pas-pas ra ba? Sakto ra. Pas-pas ra ba ako discussion? Kinsay nakasunod? Okay. Now, sa direta sa head. So sa head nato nga tag, dili nato ipamutang ato mga meta tag. As you can see na ang meta charset UTF-8. This is a header for a UTF-8 encode for para mabasa siya in other mga files. It can be embedded to any website gihapon. Ang imo website can be embedded to any other website using iframe nga tag. So here's a meta X and UX compatible and Internet Explorer Edge. Okay? Pwede siya compatible sa Edge. Morning butangan ani. And then here's a meta name viewport. This is the viewport kung unsay width og scale sa imo screen. And here sa title, for example, I'm going to change this one to a web one class. Okay, so if you're going to see this form or kaning document, HTML document, so we need to browse the the resources, meaning ato ning pangitaon using our browser. Okay, now to do that, we need to open your file. Okay, okay, here. So mo na ni ang index.html nako, which is ang sud is ang kani siya nga kani siya nga mga text or tags. Kani sa ako nga index.html. If you're going to open this one to Google Chrome or Edge or Firefox kung na Firefox, so open with Google Chrome and then okay, here. As you can see, it reads my HTML nga nga document, but it doesn't have it doesn't have the content yet. That is because we're not putting some content in the body. Okay, so ang kaning title, as you can see, web1 class naa diri sa igbaw mabutang na title. Muna siyang title din sa imo web page or imo file, HTML file. Okay, so in this case pwede siya ma-open sa browser, di ba? But in our subject, we need to browse it kaning using our local host. Okay, let's create a server. Okay, so to create your server, your localhost server, okay, you need to just to start your Apache XAMPP. Okay, so we have the XAMPP control panel. You need to start the Apache. Okay, Apache. So it will give a port, so port 80 and 443. So we have to navigate our HTML file using our localhost. Okay, so to do that, you need to type localhost slash and then the name of your folder, which is padung sa htdocs nato nga folder, And then ato gibutang dito name sa ato folder is web1 dash 2b. Sakto ba? Web1 dash 2b. Okay, web1 dash 2b. So web1 dash 2b localhost slash the name of your folder and then enter. Alright, here it reads my HTML document because nana siya diri ang ako title web1 class, so it works. Naa diri ang ako index.html. Okay, now if we're going to put something inside our body tag diri, there are lots of HTML tags nga pwede ni navigate. You can use h1. This is for the header 1. So ni hantod 6. Okay, h1, so h2 hantod 6, h3. You will see the difference. 5, 4, 6. Okay, so web 1. Nakasunod ra guys. Guys, are you still there? Okay. So sa ato body, we need to display something. Okay? Para ma-design na nato ang ato web page. Alright? So, let's try to have the h100 h6 or the header 100 header 6 na HTML tag. So, save, Control S, and then let's refresh our web page. So refresh. Okay, here. As you can see, the H1 is the pinaka dako nga font antod pagamay. Okay? So, mao na siya ang H6, H5, H4, H3, H2, H1. Kasunod ra guys. Okay, now let's go back to our our PowerPoint. Okay, I want you to read this one inside mo kuan Alalor. Can you read this one?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Nakita ra?
Yes, sir. Asa magsugod sa po, sir?
Yes, please.
Hypertext is a method for instant information cross-referencing that supports communications on the web. Hypertext makes it easy to link content on one web page to content on another web page or site. Hypertext and HTTP enable people to access the millions of websites active on the www. The Hypertext Transfer Protocol or HTTP is another key component of the World Wide Web. It enables users to access web pages by standard standardizing communication and data transfer between the internet servers and clients.
Okay. So between the internet servers and clients, that is lahi na sa HTML lang ang HTTP. Ang HTML is a hypertext markup language, which is that we are going to edit, okay, or make some codes sa ato web page. Now the HTTP, that is the hypertext transfer protocol. So that is how the internet servers transfer of a web pages and display that in your computer. Okay, mo na siya ang protocol pagpa-load sa resources from website. Okay, so as you can kuan, ang Facebook, it has HTTPS. Okay, let's see here. Now, kani tanawan ninyo ha. Ang ato gi-mention is HTTP lang, di ba? Sa Facebook and other websites, naa sila HTTPS. Do you have any idea what is that or what is happening in here?
Secured, sir.
Yes, that is a secured. Meaning, ang website ana niya, it has an SSL certificate para mahimo na siya og HTTPS, and it will be secured connection. Okay? So, all the web pages, ang secured nga port nga i-access from from clients to servers or to your resources, each kuan is the port 443. Okay, that is the best practice of all the website. It should be in port 443 when you when you publish your website. Okay, so dili mo magparan og or dili niyo i-publish ang inyong website kung nag-run siya sa port 80 or other nga ports. That is because it is very crucial if you have if you have database in your web apps. Okay? If you have database in your web apps and you are using the port that can be accessible to hackers, now your website can be hacked. Okay, so that is very important to have this your website to publish in an HTTPS. So it runs on the port 443. So there is ato, since we are only developing a website in our local host, so okay ra sa ato mo access sa port 80. That is because sa ato raman ma-access, dili man dito sa internet. Alright, so that is the difference between HTTP and HTTPS. Now let's go back to our slides. So every URL is also a URI. Okay, so but not vice versa. You are a universal resource identifier or URI. It has the universal, it is also a universal resource locator and universal resource name. Okay, so mao na siya ang kanang tawagan ni tawagan niya kaning murag mahimo siya og address or locator sa imo file sa imo website. Okay, for example, ang ako files tree is kaning web 1, kaning web 1, nasa web 1 there's tubig nga folder, and then I'm going to publish that one. It creates a URL or URI. Okay, so it will be accessible to kuan any part of the world kung i-publish na online. Okay, so another one. Wait. Okay. So most web documents and pages are created using hypertext markup language. So a text-based way of describing how content within an HTML file is structured. So HTML describes the structure of web pages using elements or tags and displays the content of these pages through the web browser. Okay? To access one of these pages, the user can and their client machine supply a universal identifier to the web server via browser. Okay? This identifier may be a uniform resource locator URL or a uniform resource identifier or URI, and it is unique to each page in each web page. Okay, because kinahanglan ni siya unique kay um, kuan man dili man pwede sa websites if you're going to create a domain name ang kani siyang domain name, this is like facebook.com kani facebook.com, that is a domain name. Alright, we have kani for example apps.edu.ph, this is the domain name kanang edu.ph kaning ebso.edu.ph mo siya ang domain name. So kung nanay butang diri nga apps dot muna na siya ang tawag nga subdomain. Okay, so subdomain is under the domain of ebsu.edu.ph. Okay, so naay subdomain, naay domain. Okay, naay main domain. Okay, ang main domain sa ato ebsu is ebsu.edu.ph. If you're going to navigate this link here, makita ninyo ang website sa main. Okay, ato kitaon ha. ebsu.edu.ph. Okay, here. That is the main website nato. Okay, as you can see. Now, Ebsu created an apps. Okay, that is why naatay portal. So they created a subdomain para ma-associate gyapon sa main domain nato sa Ebsu. Naa siya subdomain niya apps and then the main domain. So nani siya sa iba nga folder. Kung magbutang ka og subdomain, ang kani siyang imo full application nani sa iba nga folder. Okay, wala ni naka sud sa ebsu.edu.ph nga folder. Okay, so ang ebsu.edu.ph na domain, it is associated with an IP address. Okay, naani sud nga IP address. Okay, I don't know kung unsay IP address ani, but ang kaning domain name is to cover the IP address of your server. Okay, so para ma-clear lang ninyo, and every domain kani siyang Facebook, excuse me, kani siyang facebook.com na ani siya on nga server. Okay, nga IP, public IP. So dili man ni siya ma-access without the public IP. Okay, so nani siya nakatago nga IP. That is why they're using domain to name the IP address, okay, of the website. So mo na siya ang kung wa kay domain unya na kay public IP nga naka-publish online, you can use the IP address. So mo na siya ang kada domain ana na dunay associated nga IP address. Mao na, this is to mask the IP address. They are using domain name. That is how it works. Okay, So, a collection of web pages belonging to a URL is called a website. For example, kani siya, ano siya nga sa inyo, website, www.techtarget.com, for example, like that. And HTTPS is the one, web page nimo sa or kuan nimo sa imo location nimo sa imo web page. So the browser accepts the URL or URI provided by the user and communicates it to the web server. The server then retrieves the web page associated with the URL or URI and present it to the user in the browser between a window of their client machine. So let's say for example kani siya let's say Stack Overflow. Dinhira ba ko pwede may magkuan mangita og source code kung maglibog na ko. Okay, stackoverflow.com. So that is a domain name, and if you're going to click this one, it will redirect you to the index file ani niya. Okay, so that is a domain, and this is your web page. Ano siya? Muna siyang ilang web page. So, kahibaw mo ana pag-design, ang kani pag-design ani nila na ay associated sa CSS and JavaScript. Okay? As you can see na ay mga ingani-ingani. They are using JavaScript in this one. It's either JavaScript, pure JavaScript or JavaScript framework. So there are lots of JavaScript framework that you can use. You can use jQuery. You can use React.js or Next.js or Vue.js. There are lots of them. Okay, but in this subject, we're gonna use jQuery, but in the later part na lang. Okay. So basic URL structure. So this is the protocol, HTTPS colon / and what is tech target? This is the domain, and this is the path. Mao na siyang katong path sa inyong folder. Kani sample kani siyang kahuman sa domain, mao na siyang path sa inyong folder. Mao na siyang kanang in the whole whole nga string ani, this is the URL. Okay, URL consists of protocol, ay makalimutan na, it consists of protocol, domain name, and path. Okay, wala siya ang structure sa URL. Okay, let's go on to the history of World Wide Web. Okay, kasi mo basa ni Danica? Danica, can you read this one?
Yes, sir. History of the World Wide Web. British physicist Tim Berners-Lee invented the World Wide Web. Along with colleagues at Geneva-based CERN, the European Organization for Nuclear Research, Berners-Lee had been working on the concept since 1989. Their goal was to combine available technologies and data networks to create a user-friendly system for global communication and information sharing. At the time, they began to work on the first www server, which they called HTTPD. They also dubbed the first client www.
Okay. Continue.
Originally,
WWW was a what you see is what you get, or also known as WYSIWYG, hypertext browser or editor that run in the NetStep environment. In 1990, Berners-Lee demonstrated the first web server and browser at CERN to explain his idea of a World Wide Web. The web then entered the public eye in 1991 when Berners-Lee, who also developed hypertext, announced his creation on the Alt Hypertext News Group. At the same time, he created the world's first web page with the address http info.cern.ch hypertext www the project.html. This page, which remains operational as of 2022, includes information and links about the www project and web servers. In 1993, CERN made the W3 technology publicly available on a royalty-free basis.
Okay. So, thank you, Danica. And we have another video sa kuan about this URL. Okay. So, by the way, si Tim Berners-Lee is the unsa man, the creator of or the inventor of kaning kaning ato gihimo karon ang World Wide Web.
What does URL stand for anyway? At the top of this web page, you'll find a URL. Commonly seen beginning with www dot and ending with .com, URLs are unique identifiers used to locate anything on the internet. A URL, or Uniform Resource Locator, tells a web browser how and where to retrieve a resource. You can type URLs directly into a browser's address bar, but you also use them whenever clicking on links on a web page, a bookmark list, or an email. A URL is made up of multiple parts, most notably the protocol, the host or domain name, and the path. The protocol, or scheme, is what accesses the resource on the internet. Examples include HTTP, HTTPS, FTPS, and Mail2. The host name is the unique reference that represents a web page. In other words, the name of the site you're visiting. And the path specifies where you are on that website. A URL for a TechTarget definition page might look like this. Other components of a URL might include a port name, query, parameters, and a fragment.
Alright, so that is the structure of a URL. Now just say path, domain, and the protocol. Okay, web browser evolution. Okay, let's add one. Frizzell, kindly read this one.
Web browser evolution and the growth of World Wide Web. Berners-Lee and his team developed a text-based web browser that was released in early 1992. However, it took the release of the more user-friendly Mosaic browser in 1993 to kickstart the rapid acceptance and adoption of the www. Mosaic provided a point-and-click graphical interface that people had been using in personal computers for a few years. This familiarity increased public interest in www and led to its rapid growth all over the world. Entrepreneur and software engineer Mark Andreessen and others developed Mosaic in the United States. They also developed the Netscape Navigator browser that quickly became the dominant browser in 1994, until it was displaced by Microsoft's Internet Explorer in 1995. IE dominated the web browser space until it was challenged by browsers like Mozilla Firefox, released in 2004, and Google Chrome released in 2008. In 2015, Microsoft discontinued IA and replaced it with Microsoft Edge browser.
Okay, thank you. So these are the kuan, the evolution sa Internet Explorer. So ang Internet Explorer karon it is used for downloading another browser. So wala na kayo naggamit ani karon, yeah, just because of its kuan kaning outdated content na. Some of the scripts are updated, so dili na mo ganang, like say for example mga JavaScript ng mga codes. There are some codes na dili siya functional within that browser. That is why wala na siya support, and but it can download browser another browser. So as you can see, natay Microsoft Internet Explorer 1.0 1995 lahi pa ang purma. Hantod 3.0, hantod 5, 2009 Explorer 7, hantod 11, kana siya. So karon na sila Microsoft Edge. Ang Microsoft Edge nila also nanay mga supported nga mga kaning pwede na makaran mga JavaScript dito gihapon. So nagihapon support na ang ila kanang Microsoft Edge sa Microsoft. So after inventing the web, Tim Berners-Lee also founded the World Wide Web Consortium, or W3C, a non-profit international consortium that aims to standardize the web through specifications and the reference software. So World Wide Web versus Internet. Sige. Kisay mo readan. Can you read Kevin? Wala nang dali ra makita sa kuan. Kevin, can you read this one? Yeah, marag na ay problem ang imo kuan, Kevin. Imo headset siguro. Sige, another one na lang. Na ay problem niya headset. Jovic.
Sir.
Kani, World Wide Web versus the Internet.
World Wide Web versus the Internet. The web is often confused with the Internet even though they're different. While the two are intricately connected, the web is just one of many applications built on top of the Internet, a vast global network of multiple smaller networks. The Internet incorporates supporting infrastructure and other technologies that connect networks, websites, and users to each other. In contrast, the web is a communications model or platform that enables the retrieval or exchange of information over the Internet through HTTP. Through the www, users can access web pages over the internet by following a series of HTTP links. To retrieve and view these pages, users need to use a browser installed on the computer, such as Microsoft Edge, Google Chrome, or Mozilla Firefox.
Okay. Continue, please.
Both the internet and the web operate within a client-server model. A server is a program that accepts requests or from other computers known as clients on the network to store and transmit documents. Clients request documents from a server when a user asks for them and then displays them on the user's screen. The world's first web server went online in 1991 in the US. In the US, by the end of the year, there were only 10 web servers around the world. 2 years later, there were 500 operational web servers. By 2016, the number of web servers had grown to more than 100 million. Since the release of CERN's first web browser, the www has evolved into a massive ecosystem of websites and users. As of 2022, approximately 5 billion people, or 63% of the world's population, use the web, which is believed to contain approximately 1.88 billion websites.
Okay. So kung nakakuan mo no, nakabantay mo, grabe gud ka rapid ang pag kuan pag grow sa kuan internet. So um kanang most of you siguro nakahibaw gyud sa pag-access sa internet. Okay, even katong mga kuan na mga elementary, ibaw na sila mo browse sa browser, ibaw na magkuan sa mga kuan mga TikTok. So mao jud na siya ka kuan, very popular na gyud ang internet, labi na karon sa pagkuan sa COVID. That is because katong sa COVID, since you cannot go outside, you're just going to browse on Facebook kanang mga ingana. So tanan na jud nakailaan ng internet. So grabe na gid ka daghan og users sa kuan nato, internet kuan. Now, how HTTP works. So ang HTTP works, so we have the client kani siyang left side kani computer. This is the client side. Okay, this is the client side, which is let's say for example me, I am using a computer and a browser, and I am accessing a website. Okay, so I am a client. So I am a client requesting for a content. Now if I'm going to put some URL inside my browser dito sa ako search engine nga bar, it will go to the internet, look for the specific kanang address or domain. As I've mentioned sa inyo kanina, ang domain, it is associated with an IP address, which is the IP address of the server. Okay, now if I'm going to put to facebook.com, it is associated with IP address, it will look for an IP address kung asa dapita siya ng butang, and it will look for a resources. Okay, so this here kaning web server, video server, message server, mo sila ang mga server nga kuan nga i-access or i-request from the client. So here sa ato kuan, sa ato example, ang ato magamit din ni sa tulo is the web server. Okay, so web server ang ato himuon in this subject. Okay, what will be Web 3.0 look like compared to Web 1.0 and 2.0? So the World Wide Web continues to evolve. The first generation of the web is the Web 1.0, which Berners-Lee originally defined in 1989. So had no video content, so wala pa to, puro pa to text, wala video content, and page format similar to that of the printed page. Okay, so wala pa to, hindi pa to mabutangan ng video or kuan katong gi kuan ni Berners sa una. So Web 1.0 was primarily static and focused on providing information. So puro la information. So around beginning of 21st century, the Web 2.0 ushered in a new era that was more interactive and dynamic than its predecessor, and focused on user collaboration, universal network connectivity, and communications channel as smartphones, mobile internet access, and social networks spurred the growth of Web 2.0 applications such as Airbnb, TikTok, Twitter, and Uber. So which increased online interactivity, utility became increasingly popular. Okay, so nanataron sa Web 2.0. atong last is web 2.0. Karon web 3.0, with a lofty goal of creating more intelligent, connected, and open websites. So Web 3.0 is still in infancy and has yet to be defined fully. Unlike Web 2.0, which includes applications and websites that entail user-generated content. So Web 3.0 is expected to be fully decentralized. This places content creation in the hands of the creators than rather than platform owners. Okay, we have three iterations of the World Wide Web. So, gikan sa 1.0, commonly known as World Wide Web, enables users to connect to websites and view or download the content. 1.0 is considered the genesis of the modern internet. So, spawned from university experiments and ARPANET uh, to eventually create the internet. So Web 2.0 includes the website and application that make use of user-generated content, so made possible through rich web technologies. This era of web first materialized in late 1990s and gave rise to internet giants like Google and Facebook. So Web 3.0 is still being defined. So still being defined on Web 3.0 at the enterprise level as the technologies is based on continue to evolve. So early marketing co-opting the term of for consumers, technology pushes peer-to-peer decentralized technologies focused on digital ownership such as cryptocurrency and non-fungible tokens or NFTs. So mana na silang padung na diha. Smarter and more autonomous technology, including artificial intelligence and machine learning, are expected to define Web 3.0. Encrypted digital currencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum may be used to pay for transactions as peer-to-peer technologies such as blockchain and security technology became more important. Web 3.0 is expected to gain momentum. Okay, so kuyaw na kayo ng Web 3.0 no kay nana siya AI kung unsaon na pag kuan there are kuan na murag evolution for kanang sa internet. So as you can kuan observe nanatay mga AI. So kung dili lang mo makabantay ang ato Facebook, say for example you are opening your Facebook app, okay, and then you are like mentioning something, the AI can hear you because it is recording your voice. So kung unsa imo kung makabantay mo, if you're going to say cryptocurrency, okay, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, and your Facebook is open, okay, so kuan mo nga, uy, naa na may mga kuan, naa na may mga ads nga mao pa lang ako pag-mention ka ganina na mga ads. So that is because of the kanang machine learning. Okay? So it can analyze sounds, it can analyze words. So kuang na lang siguro kung wala pa nimo buhata, gibuhat na sa gibuhat na sa imo napalang sa una ba kuan pa lang, buhaton pa lang makaibaw na sila. So grabe na og kanang machine learning nga gibuhat. So to develop a machine learning gihapon and artificial intelligence, there's a programming language nga ginagamit in developing AIs and machine learning is the Python. Okay? ako lang na ikon sa inyo dan. That is a Python programming language. Python R ana sila diya machine learning. That is because Python has lots of libraries na with lots of community support. So Python can easily code without worrying the syntax of your coding. So Python is very easy to learn. Kumo nang ako gi kuan sa inyo itong last nga kuan, encourage na mo pagtuon jud og Python. Okay, alright, so HTML tags, we have okay, defines a comment. Kani siyang kaning tag ani kaning naay less than, exclamation, dash dash, and dot dot dot, dash dash, and then greater than. Kani siyang symbols, kani siyang naay dot 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 diri kaning nasa tunga, that is a content, for example. So that is a text or the tags nga imo i-comment di mo ipa-display sa imo website. Let's say for example kani gamiton taning comment, and let's go to our file. Kani for example kaning ako h1 nga tag ako ni i-comment, di na ako ipa-display sa ako HTML. I am just going to comment this one. Alright, so this is the symbol or the tag. So as you can see here, so na siya ay less than, exclamation, and then dash dash, dot dot dot, dash dash, and then greater than, which is kanisiya. So man siyang nagrepresent sa dot 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 kanina. So this is the kanang content nga imo i-comment para di mo display sa imo web page. So let's test this one. So Control S, and then refresh our web page. So dapat di na nimo view ang web 1 nga class nga dako. Okay, refresh. Alright, here wala na because it has already been commented. Okay, but if you can if you're going to view page source, naagyapon na siya. Okay, because we did not remove this one. Okay, naagyapon ni siya sa imong web page. Abutang we're going to view web page, view page source day here. Okay, nakasunod mo. Pag view page source nimo, makakita mo na ay kuan gi-comment na green siya. So meaning wala na siya gi-kuan. If you're going to remove this one, naas na uban niya pwede nimo ma-edit diri, but you cannot edit it in the main file. So pwede na nato editon diya. We change nato ang content. Let's say for example kaning balik ta diri. Dito, inspect element. So here, pag inspect element nimo mo pop up ni ang kaning developer nga console. So this is the developer console nga mokita sa imo code. Mokita sa imo mga kaning content sa imo website. Okay? But makita ra diri kung unsa imo gi-display. All right? And then for example, I'm going to change this one. Ako lang ni double click. Yan na. And then edit. So web 2. Sample web 2 class. Niya. Pagkana na ako, say ma-edit na siya. But it cannot be edited in the main file. Okay? So if you're going to refresh, mabalik na gahapon na siya. Okay. Muna siya ang gamit sa page source. Ang uban ani, they use page source to find the design, kung unsay design na niya. As you can see, if I'm going to click H2, na siya'y reference nga anang styles. Di ba? Nakita mo ani sa abos. Di mo na ako ma-zoom. Okay ka na. Okay. Nakita mo ani H2. Yan na ay display block. Ani. Ana. So, na sa corresponding nga design. Alright? H2 has the corresponding design. Nasa styles na makita. Now, moabot na sa designing. Familiarize the syntax. Alright? So, naa siya this is the selector. H2 is the selector. And then, sud sa curly braces, ang kaning puwa, this is the properties. And ang kaning right side, this is the value of the property. Okay? If I'm going to change this one, okay. Di siya ma-edit. Di ma-edit kari dapita. Hold on. Pwede na siya ma-edit. Okay. Yan na. Basta mo na siya ang itawag nga CSS. Okay? Cascading Style Sheet. So, part ni sa ato coding sa ato sa ato front end design. So, padong nata ana diya dapita. Alright? Nga po mo guys, nakasunod na mo. Guys, are you still there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So, sa kaning subject is very simple. You just have to design your web pages and identify the HTML tags, the unsay dapat i-design. So, makahibaw jud mo ani. And this is very fun. Okay? Alright. And let's go to our one. Okay. HTML tags. So, kaning doc type. So, this is one of the very first the top nga kuan nga tawag ni nga tag nga ibutang sa ato web page. A. This is the hyperlink. Excuse me. So, A tag, hyperlink tag, you can open or you can redirect a website from your web page. Okay? You can open website using this one to another page. I-call lang na mo ang website name. Okay, so let's try this one, the A tag. Comment this one, usa. Okay. So let's have the A. Alright. A, and then if you're going to open another website or another web page, you can just put href. Okay, href is equal to then the name of the web page that you're going to call. Let's say for example google.com. Okay, and then I'm going to put text here, go to Google. Yan na, go to Google. Ako i-save, and then let's test, refresh. Tapos ani close ang kuan. So as you can see, sa A tag na to, na siya ay underline and it is blue. Okay? Once I click this one, it will becomes black. Okay? Ma-black na ni siya ang iyang text. That is because it is kanang identified niya ni click na kaani nga link. Alright? So, if I'm going to click this one, you will be redirected to google.com because ang atong gibutang diri nga link is ang google.com. Alright? So, click this one. Oy, google.com. Okay, wala ta nagbutang og HTTP or HTTPS. So, let's try this HTTPS. Ang full nga kuan jud link www.google.com. Okay, save. And then refresh. Alright, so go to google.com, refresh sa nato kadali, and check the link, and then click this one. Alright, we have been redirected to google.com. Okay, so that is the use of our A or A tag or the hyperlink tag. Kasunod ra guys, we're going to go back. So what kwanta diri, so it is be ni na change siya color, anahin mo siya violet diri. So blue siya og dili pa siya ma-click, and then sa ako diri na mo violet pa ni black, basta maana na siya, basta ma-click na siya, mo change na ang color. Alright, okay, so another tag, ABBR. So this is just an abbreviation, and kani may ato kinahanglan ng input tag, meaning ang kani siya is kinahanglan siya makuha og kuan kaning values from the user. So this is the input tag. So let's try this one, input tag. Ato i-comment ang kani. Let's put input, and then sa input na say attribute. Okay, it's either text, number, or kanang nasa ni email or password na siya diha. Okay, so if you're going to put the type, so unsa siya nga type, is it number type, is it text lang, is it kanang email, is it password? So if you're going to get only the text, you just put text, and then another attribute nga ato ibutang sa input is the class. Okay, so we will be using class for our designing na. Okay, so class, any name ang inibutang diri sa class, but you need to create a unique name for your specific tag. Okay, so for example, I'm going to name this class as kanang INP. This is for the input class, INP, and then also we have ato lang i-try og pa-show sa ato web browser, web page. So natay class nga INP, natay type sa input nga text. Okay, so let's refresh this one. Okay, here. Muna siya ang input tag na to gimo. Alright? So, na siya, pwede ta ka-enter diri bisag unsa because this is a text nga tag. Okay? At type nga input tag. This is a text. So, bisag unsa nga kuan, numbers, kuan kaning special characters, kana special character pwede. And then also we have another type sa input. So let's go back to our file. So in this case we have to get only the email address. Okay, so if you're going to input only an email, you need to put email here as the input type. Okay, so ato lang ni text. Then let's create another one, and then this is the email type. So sa email type ato sa ni comment. Okay, sa email type, let's refresh this one. Sa email type is pwede siya direct, but we need to put this into form. This is because to verify if the input of this the value of this input is an email. So we need to have a form in this kuan. Kinahanglan jud ni misud siya sa form para ma-validate. And also if you can't validate using form, you can validate using JavaScript. Okay, but in the kuan pa na next na to nga mga kuan, yung mga discussion. Alright, so this is an email na nga kuan. So it accepts email, but it can also pwede pa ni mabutangan og bisagon sa special characters, but to lagi to validate the input of this kuan tag, we need to put it in a form tag, or you need to validate it in JavaScript. Okay, another one is a password. Okay, copy this one. Nakasunod ra mo guys, or pass ra ko? Guys, still there? Sleeping? Okay, another tag is the password. Another type is the password. So in this input tag, you can input any character, but it is now in a circle na mag-dot ra siya, because that is a password. Okay, bisag kung sana i-type nimo diha, it will mask as a period or a circles. Okay, because that is a password nga kuan. So mo na siya ang sa password. Now isa pa man, a number. Okay, let's input this one. So sa input, kung number lang ato ikuan, number lang ato ipa-show sa iya, okay, or number lang ato i-accept, so you have to put number. Okay, input type number, so number lang ang i-accept. Okay, dili siya mo kuan bisag magbutang ko og letters, siya mo type. But here, if we're going to type numbers, it accepts numbers. Okay, na E. Why is it na E? Okay, this is the default man nga value ang E, murag sa function na niya, but it can be validated. Okay, so here sa number nga tag, it can use this one, natay negative hantod kuan nasa scroll kuan buttons gagmay. nga pag increment o decrement. Okay. Okay, so maybe we will continue next meeting sa ato discussion. Ngadto lang ta sa Sunday. Um, okay, Sunday na lang ato next nga kuan schedule, okay? Okay ra ba, guys? Guys, still there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Wala man tayo
Yes, sir.
tingog.
Attendance.
Okay, attendance muna tayo. To be ito. Okay. I will end my presentation now. By the way, guys, do you have any question? Guys? Any question about sa discussion? Yes?
Excuse me, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Regarding sa Sunday nga lab, sir ba? Every Sunday na mag-lab, sir?
Karon og mo okay mo sa Sunday. Kuan man god ang ato schedule for 9 to 12 ugma. We cannot
Sa Lunes, sir. Di can't miss Lunes.
Vic. Okay. Sorry. Okay, pwede sa Lunes. Kaya mo sa ko'y klase sa Lunes. What time is it? Sa kuan sa Lunes kung unsay ato sa butan. Kung sabot sa tagod. Kaya para kuan ma-apply po sa iba ba. So Monday morning.
Odo lang, sir.
Adto.
Odto kay productive daw.
Okay, bitaw. Okay, odto mga what time man ayun yung available. Let's vote ka ha ngadto sa ato kuan sa ato group, no? Kung what time sa Monday. It's either 1 to 3 or 3 to 5. Unsa may inyo ganahan. Basta available ko Monday. I don't have class on Monday. Morning hangtod afternoon. So pwede ra ta diha. Kay ugma di kita ka klase ana. And mabihaid man ta sa ato subject kung di ta magklase sa ato usa ka schedule. Daghan pa man tag topic ko and kinahanglan ma-cover nato man.
Excuse me, sir. F2F na, sir, no?
Dili pa if face to face kay wala pa man directive sa amo gud. So online sa ta. So mas convenient yapon sa ato nga side. Kung ta sa mag face to face piting inita dito eh. Init kayo unya. Okay ra man gud ang uban gud pwede ra man gud sa face to face gud unta but wala pa jud side directive. Puhon na siguro og nanay kuan. Moingon na sila nga pwede na face to face. Mag face to face jud ta og mo ingon sila sir kuan sila sir ang din na to ba kung mo okay na sila sa face to face. Okay, any question about sa ato topic? Nakagets ra tanan or naadyo uban na kuan medyo naglisod pa sa pagsabot but maanad ra mo ana kay kani nga subject ting sayo na lang jud kay pinakasayo na jud ni sa tanan ninyo nga subject. Okay, any question? Wala na? Kaya mag-attendance na ta. Okay, si Alambag na. Alambag, no?
Present, sir.
Alolor,
Present, sir.
Arinyo, Justin,
Present, sir.
Arpon,
Present, sir.
Aradasa,
Present, sir.
Bilas,
Present, sir.
Buskagan, Buskagan, wala, Campomanes,
Present, sir.
Kautoy, Kakilala,
Present, sir.
Seledjo,
Present, sir.
Serelo,
Present, sir.
Ismero,
Present, sir.
Guli,
Present, sir.
Laudiza,
Present, sir.
Laurente,
Present, sir.
Limosnero, Magallanes,
Present, sir.
Manatad,
Present, sir.
Mantala, Mission, Mojado,
Present, sir.
Navia,
Present, sir.
Otero,
Present, sir.
Palban,
Present, sir.
Pateño,
Present, sir.
Romero, Silvano,
Present, sir.
Soles, Talia,
Present, sir.
Tigbawan.
Present.
Alright. So we only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 lang ang absent nato. Great. So okay. Okay, so next kuan na lang, Monday na lang ta. Since wala man mo klase kay kung sa kuan man sa Sunday, maybe some of you nag-spend sa time pa sa family or sa kuan nila, mga boyfriend or girlfriend nila, late date pa. So di ta ganahan makadisturbo, no? So ganito lang ta sa Monday. Alright? Monday is either murag nindot og 2 to 5. Okay ra guys? Monday 2 to 5. Ato lang ba?
Okay, sir.
Okay. Alright, since we are now clear sa ato schedule, so let's have it next week on Monday ang ato next meeting. And kindly open your cameras so that we can have a documentation. Okay. 1. Asa naman tong uban? 1, 2, 3, smile. Isa pa, 1, 2, 3, smile. Alright, so thanks guys. Let's meet on Monday next week. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Goodbye.